Our next speaker, I'm very excited to introduce to you. She's been doing undercover Planned Parenthood investigations for years now and has basically been bringing the organization black eyes ever since. So, give a round of applause for Lila Rose of Live Action.
It's awesome to see all of you here today because I know we're standing together on behalf of our unborn brothers and sisters, on behalf of women, on behalf of our young women, our young people, and on behalf of our Christian faith, in defense of our Christian faith, and in defense of our Catholic faith specifically at this hospital, to say that we will not tolerate, we cannot tolerate the shedding of innocent blood, and any support, any demonstrated support for that shedding of innocent unborn blood. That's why we're all here this morning, this afternoon, that's why we're all standing together. I head up an organization primarily of young people, youth-led across the country, that is dedicated to leading our generation to stand up for life, but is also focused on researching, investigating, exposing the many abuses that happen every day in Planned Parenthood abortion clinics across our great country. Over 800 of these clinics across our nation, the biggest abortion chain in our country, committing over 300,000 abortions, almost over a fourth of all abortions in our nation. And that's exactly the chain that Dr. Richard Grossman works with. That's where he's working, that's within miles of this hospital, and that's part of the offense here, that we have an abortionist, a notorious abortionist, as part of one of the biggest abortion chains in our country, who's working at a Catholic hospital that's dedicated, that's ultimately built to protect and to nurture human life, but instead is housing what is antithetical to that mission, against that mission, hurting, harming, destroying innocent human life. Mother Teresa, who is that humble nun from Calcutta, who we all love, and she was honored with a Nobel Peace Prize, and she's spoken before presidents and before the United Nations, but whenever she had the opportunity, she had very strong words to say about abortion, and unequivocally she called abortion the greatest destroyer of peace. She said before a national prayer breakfast, before President Clinton and his wife over 10 years ago, that the greatest destroyer of peace in the world today is the cry of the innocent unborn child. Are we going to listen to that cry? Are we going to listen and heed her words? As she said, we cannot have peace in America or peace in our world if we allow for abortion. Are we going to allow for this in our nation? And are we going to allow for this near this hospital?
See what's under my hat.
Catholic teaching, let's remember exactly what Catholic teaching states about hospitals and the protection of innocent human life, our Catholic hospitals. I think it's important for us all to hear these words again. This is from the USCCB, the U.S. Council of Catholic Bishops, speaking and helping us understand our faith and how to live out our faith, including with regard to Catholic hospitals. And this is what it says from the USCCB. Catholic healthcare institutions are not to provide abortion services, even based upon the principle of material cooperation. In this context, this is very important to hear, Catholic healthcare institutions need to be concerned about the danger of scandal in association with any abortion providers. Is this an association with an abortion provider? To be employing an abortionist, the notorious known abortionist who works at one of the biggest abortion chains in the country, at a Catholic hospital? That's why we're all here, and that's why we're standing up and saying, Mercy Hospitals, it's time to stop your employment, your allowing of Dr. Richard Grossman to work on your premises. When he down the street works at the abortion clinic, committing abortion after abortion of our completely defenseless, innocent, unborn brothers and sisters. Catholic teaching is very clear about collaborating in any way, supporting, even the appearance of support with abortionists. But it's very clear the appearance of support when they are actually allowing this doctor to run his practice, part of his practice, on an explicitly Catholic hospital. And that's why we're demanding that they cease the connection with this abortionist, and that any other hospital in our country that would have any connection to an abortionist would immediately cut that relationship for the sake of the unborn, for the protection of the unborn, and for the sake of the faithful. And then I want to speak briefly as a woman, as a young Catholic woman. It is an outrage, and I've talked to many of my Catholic sisters about this who, across the country, are learning about this event in Durango, are learning about this hospital and its employment, its allowance of an abortionist, a known abortionist, to work on its premises. And Catholic women, young women, are outraged about this because we don't want to go to a Catholic hospital expecting services, life-giving, life-promoting services, and to find that the OBGYN here delivering babies is the very one killing them down the street, committing what we think is the greatest human rights abuse that our country has ever encountered. And so together as women, we're all standing here saying, no, we do not want abortionists working at our Catholic or Christian hospitals. We will not tolerate this. We will not stand for this together. I also want to note that this is a national effort, that national leaders across the country are noticing what is happening in Durango. We see this as ground zero. If we can allow this in Durango or anywhere, we are not allowing justice and ultimately following our Catholic teaching in other parts of the nation. So what's happening here in Durango has taken the notice of Catholics across the country, of pro-life leaders across the country. Dr. Alveda King, the niece of Martin Luther King Jr., has said, and this is her message to us, she says, "Friends, your courage and humility in telling the truth is a blessing. March on, valiant soldiers." She's cheering for us. Many others across the country. Father Fessio from Ignatius Press, a well-known Catholic leader, is cheering for us. Judy Brown from American Life League is standing with us. Catholics and young people across the country are standing up for life against the employment or the support of abortionists with us. This is something that's bigger than Durango, although it's so important that the people of Durango stand together to speak out against this, to demand an end to this. But across the country, people are taking note, and the petition, which I am so proud to sign today, and many others will be signing, we're promoting it through our organization and other groups, together to say what's happening in Durango matters to all Catholics, matters to all people of faith across our country. It should matter to every person of faith, because if we allow our institutions that are meant to protect and nourish human life, that are built to protect and nourish human life, to employ or to promote or to allow abortionists committing the greatest human rights abuse to work and to make money on their premises, then we are doing what is antithetical to what that hospital was built to do. So together we'll stand and we'll commit to this. Keep in mind, Dr. Richard Grossman works at a Planned Parenthood abortion clinic. This is the most notorious chain of clinics, the biggest chain of clinics. We all are familiar with the many abuses, the sexual abuse cover-up of women, the harm that this organization is doing to women, to very young women, the willingness of Planned Parenthood to cooperate in even sexual trafficking of young girls. Our organization has documented this willingness through undercover investigative work. Planned Parenthood is an abusive, violent, and anti-woman organization. And Dr. Richard Grossman will not be trusted with our women, with our Catholic women, and especially not with our children. So it's my commitment to you to continue to push that petition across the country, and we will make a stand as Catholics and people of faith to not allow this any longer, and to ultimately fight to continue to protect our unborn brothers and sisters. It's the greatest fight that we can do. Thank you so much for standing out here in the rain and the sun. God's will be done, and God is on our side of the fight.
All right, if the media has any